Our next guest this evening is an expert, a proper expert when it comes to fighting fires.
Oh, yes, it is. Abdul Rahman, also known as Raja Badhwal, is a crew manager for the London Fire Brigade, one of many firefighters across the UK and the world, of course, who risk their lives to save others. Here to tell us all about it and to explore how we can be safer is Abdul Rahman. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome
Welcome to the
How
show.
are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing good.
Good to have you here, man.
You brought in your gear with you.
I brought my gear with me.
I can see
Nice.
that. We got what we got there. We got a jacket. We got some boots. We got some funky-looking dungarees.
Yeah, we got the
It's not dungaree. You don't call them dungarees, really.
What do you call them?
We call them leggings,
Yeah.
firefighter leggings.
Oh, really? Leggings?
Yeah, we
Dungarees is a bit more masculine, to be
got the
honest.
fire boots and we got the tunic, but I think you're going to try.
We're going to try it. We'll give it a try a little
yeah?
bit later. If we can start, Abdul Rahman, I mean, look, we saw that feature there from South Sudan, and I think there are probably many places in the world where when there's a fire, it's people running around with buckets of water. What was it that made you decide, look, I want to be a part of a proper professional fire service. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a fireman.
Yeah, well, it's been a boyhood dream of mine, definitely. It's something that I've always looked at from the outside and thought, yeah, I can do that. I like the physical aspect of it.
Is this somewhat since you were what?
I'll say since I was about
6
5, 6, watching
Really?
the TVs,
Yeah.
all Hollywood, things like that.
Wow.
But I got a funny little story. When I was 15,
Yeah.
I went to the careers advisor and I got poorly advised about basically you got no hope.
Really?
Get into the brigade about it was the misconceptions about
Yeah.
how you can get in.
Yeah.
So I kind of didn't pursue it. And then I went to one of the open days that London Fire Brigade do. They do it regularly, and I went and I found out about what it takes to become a firefighter and the actual process. And then me and my brother, we put ourselves forward, and 9 years later, how does the saying go? The
So you're
rest is
both
history.
What? Both brothers?
of you
You and
together?
your brother are both firemen.
We joined at the same time.
Fantastic.
So, what does it take then to be a firefighter?
Well, there's many skills that's required. I think.
Clearly, you've got to pass a beauty contest as well. Some sort of if you see it's almost like they've stepped off the magazines of GQ.
It is,
Why?
yeah, they all look like
I think
that.
I think you're getting missed with Hollywood.
Is
I
it?
think it's the conception of Hollywood
Yeah.
and the firefighters. But
That's why I could never be a firefighter.
it's anybody can be.
Yeah.
Anybody can be. But the skills required, we can go into as many skills. I think the big one is you've got to be a team player.
Yeah.
It's a team-oriented job. You've got to be a team player. Physical fitness is part of the job. You've got to maintain your physical fitness. You've got to be willing and able to obviously put yourself into pressurised
very much
situations,
so.
be adaptable.
And you talked about it's a multi-skilled job, and indeed it is. Most people think it's all about fighting fires, but that's not all your work, is it? I mean, in fact, sometimes it can be a small part of your work. There's a lot more other skills and other things that you do, aren't there?
Yeah, so if we talk about the operational side first, and then I'll deal with the day-to-day. We're a fire rescue service.
Yeah.
So the fire part is the big part, but anything that requires rescuing.
Yeah,
so I've been called to pigeon trapped. Trapped on
Kidding?
roof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously?
one of its ring.
Cats up a tree?
The cats up a tree,
Yeah.
lockouts, floodings, all RTCs, which are road traffic collisions.
Yeah, of course.
You see these.
I mean, that's a really serious part of the
That
work,
is,
isn't it? I
yeah.
mean, you guys turn up, you're the guys who cut people out of accidents, aren't you?
Yeah, that will be us. We turn up and we put a plan in place, and if the person needs assisting out the vehicle, then it may be that we have to cut the roof off, create space, and extract them out of the vehicle.
Just as a reminder for the viewers who would love to call in and ask questions of the Rahman, the number is on the screen right now. Whatever you'd like to ask about fire safety, this is an ideal opportunity. Perhaps you would like to become a fireman or a firewoman.
Firefighter.
Firefighter.
They'll pull you up on that.
That's it,
Firefighter.
firefighter.
It's open to
A
anybody.
fighter of fires, whatever
There you go.
gender you may be.
There you go.
And we've got someone who can answer questions for you. I didn't realise, you just call them firefighters now, that's it.
Yeah.
It's firefighters because there was a stigma attached.
Oh, right.
If you
Yeah,
think about the 70s and 80s, and that put a lot of people, a lot of the females off the job because they thought it wasn't for them. It's firefighter because it's a diverse workforce,
Yeah.
and that's what we need. Do you understand? London is
Gotcha.
diverse,
Of
one of
course,
the biggest
yeah.
diverse cities in the world.
I wanted to bring in our friends from the guide dogs. If I could bring you in, Rob. How do you train a dog?
Big, I can't.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? I tell you, he's proper business, they call it, isn't he, over there? Rob, how do you train a guide dog to, ignore things like, because there are instinctive things, being afraid of fire, running after a cat, doing things like that. Are dogs trained to tell their owner if there's a fire in the house? Is that one of the things they're trained to do?
That's something that may come naturally, but
Right.
the biggest challenge for us when we're training our dogs is to get them to ignore their natural senses. So,
Yeah.
for instance, to want to sniff everything. Dogs
Yeah.
just love sniffing.
Of course they do, yeah.
And to scavenge as well. You'll find your average pet dog does that all the time. But to try and take that away from the dog, it's just a case of subjecting them to it on a day-to-day basis and rewarding them when they ignore it, and then they get into that habit of doing so.
So Dave, how would you, if there was something, obviously if there's a fire, you'd probably you'd smell it, I suppose, or feel it, but how does Chad warn you that there is an issue or a problem? Is it a certain way he barks? Does he come and does he pull on the reins? What does he do exactly?
That's a lot of information. You can see the harness. This
Yeah.
white thing here with the fluorescent yellow thing is called a harness. And when we're walking along, there's two types of lead. There's this, which is an ordinary lead,
Yeah.
and there's the harness. Now, this handle here is made of rigid steel,
Yeah.
and it transmits an awful lot of information that's coming from the dog as he's walking along.
Yeah.
So if he's going left or right or up or down
Yeah.
or hesitating for any reason, all of that information is being transmitted through the handle into my arm, and I'm trained to interpret those responses and to act accordingly. But the dogs, I think, that you're thinking of that respond to sound are hearing dogs.
Hearing
and
dogs,
they will respond to things like smoke alarms and fire alarms, telephones, doorbells, and a number of other oral commands, audible signals.
I think, Abdul Rahman, I think you've got a new fan there.
I think I have.
Haven't you? Look at that. He's leaning over there. I tell you what, there's a lot of love in his eyes towards you as well, Dave. You can see it. He's staring at you.
They are precious dogs.
Yeah.
Precious animals.
Yeah.
Cost of a guide dog in the UK,
What is it?
the lifetime cost of a guide dog is £51,500, and all of that money
Wow.
is paid by the generosity of ordinary people like your viewers, people who see guide dogs, see the marvellous work that they do,
Yeah.
and want to contribute to our charity. So we don't get any government funding for our core service. We support 4,700 guide dogs throughout the UK.
Wow, that's amazing. It's all charitable.
Yeah, absolutely, it's work that absolutely needs to carry on being well funded as well.
Yeah.
It's fantastic work that you guys do.
Abdul Rahman, where do dogs come in, or pets generally? Because I suppose you have to deal with a lot of pets, and you're rescuing, as you said, you've rescued pigeons and cats. But I mean, if you're going into a house, is that one of the things you're thinking about?
It's a major thing we think about. You think about what Chad means to Dave.
Yeah.
I myself, in a previous life, as you can call it, 10 years ago, I had a dog as well,
Yeah.
a German Shepherd.
Yeah, so did I, yeah.
From 8 weeks old, so they grow with you. They're part of the family, especially in this country. So we love our pets. They're part of the family, so we have to respect that. So just as we turn up to a fire or someone's house on fire, if their child was inside, it's just the same as they're saying, "Oh, my dog's inside, and my cat's inside." I've pulled out a fair few cats as well, and we care about them as well.
Of course, yeah.
Would you? I mean, you've seen it in some films, but would you have had to like resuscitate a budgie or how
Where
would
is
you
your brain?
put like an oxygen mask on it? I just don't know. What
Do you
would
want me
do?
to commit that I've done mouth to mouth to a budgie? Is that where you're going with this? Because I haven't. I think that's where
What do
you're
you
trying to take
do?
me.
I mean, I'm smoking halal.
I
It's
think
a serious
Smoking
question. What would you do?
If an animal was in danger,
Yeah.
obviously we'll get in contact with the RSPCA,
And let them come
who are
and do what
specialised
they
this.
need
We'll
to
get
do.
trained vets, doctors who are trained in this, and let
Yeah.
them come, and they'll have their special equipment. So we are in contact with other emergency services.
Well, the other question I've got actually is fire safety. What are the
Yeah,
common
that's what I was
problems
gonna
that you are finding every time you get called out? I mean, we heard about the chip fan fires and people who are smoking and they've fallen asleep and the cigarette literally has basically started a fire. But what are the key things that you're finding, and what are your words of advice to people watching? There's certain things they should watch out for.
The common causes of fire when we turn up to people's properties. A lot of the cooking, like you mentioned, unattended cooking. A lot of overloading sockets is another big one.
Yeah.
They overload the sockets.
You're finding that more around Christmas time.
Around Christmas time, you've got the lights around the tree, so
Yeah.
overloading sockets. The best advice I can give is make sure, I can't stress how much, that you've got a working smoke alarm.
It
That's
really
the
is
key
the
thing.
key thing,
you know,
isn't it?
You know how disheartening it is when we turn up to a fire, all the possessions are lost. The smoke damage is one of the key factors.
Yeah.
And then you go to the smoke alarm at the end, you flick it open, and there's no
No
battery.
battery.
There's no battery.
There's no battery.
They've taken it out because it's been
Because it keeps
beeping.
going off every time.
Well, that's
someone-
why now we install the ones that you can't take the battery out.
because every time someone burns the toast, it goes off and people get tired of it, don't
There
they?
you go.
I mean, I saw some footage issued by the London Fire Brigade, which showed a fire on a staircase, and it showed the fire on the staircase, and then it showed that same fire on the staircase about a minute later.
Yeah.
Now, in the first minute, you could have easily run down that staircase. A minute later, it was an inferno, and they said that's the difference that your smoke detector gives you. It gives you the chance to get out before that inferno starts.
Yeah, it's an early warning device.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It detects smoke at a very, very early stage. It's products of combustion. I don't want to get into the science behind it.
Yeah.
But smoke, it gives off invisible smoke first, so
Yeah.
it's undetectable to the human eye.
Yeah.
But that smoke alarm, it will detect that, and then it gives you an early warning. Another key safety advice I can give is close your doors. The
Yeah,
ones that you can
'cause it
close, kitchen
keeps the
doors.
fire in, doesn't it?
Well, a standard UK door, it holds back a fire for 20 to 30 minutes.
That's a long time.
So it's a
isn't it?
long time. And the smoke, don't worry about the smoke alarm detecting that, because that will still travel through.
Yeah.
So the detector will pick that up. And the final bit I would say is make sure you've got an escape plan. Know your plan, your escape plan. Talk through it with your family. And make sure they all know what the escape plan is. And a lot of it for everyone is the fastest route out. I know possessions that mean something to us, but get out.
That's
But
great
I think
advice.
the other thing is making sure that people know where the keys to the window and doors are as well.
Yeah.
That's another one we look at, keys and doors. It's the worst case in the world. You're already panicking in the state of fire. If you get to that front door and you don't know,
Yeah,
and
you
you're
don't
trying to
know.
open it, you lost where the keys are, and guests as well. When you've got guests coming around, tell them as well where they are, because they need to know as well.
Fantastic advice. Well, that's it. If my kids are watching, we're going to get an escape plan because we haven't got one at the moment, so that's what we're going to do next. But in the meantime, it's back over to our life zone. What's burning with you, Joseph?
Hopefully nothing, but we've got the outfit
Oh
for
my
it.
goodness, Joseph!
Hope you've got cream for it.
Well, I'm surprised my head even fitted in this helmet, but there you have it.
You do have a remarkably big head.
Hold on, actually, you said you're surprised it fits in. It clearly doesn't. It clearly doesn't fit in there. So it's perched on top of your head.
And we've got a baseball bat.
Oh, well,
Let's see how
I
robust
remember when
that-
you slapped me, Sergeant. Anyway, on air, on nothing off air. It's very good. Raheem, of course, maximum respect for noticing and obviously reiterating the need for a safety plan, and we'll be coming to that very shortly back on the show. But over to you guys now at home, and we of course have caller on line 1, I believe is Zubair from London, who would like to ask Abdul Rahman a question. Zubair, assalamu alaikum, good evening, are you with us?
Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, more importantly?
Yeah, I'm good. That's really entertaining today, getting some information, learning about fire safety and that. It's really good.
Fantastic. Well, what's your question for Abdul Rahman today, our resident expert this evening?
Well, I had one on fire safety, but you answered that, so I'll ask one about his religion. How can he practice his religion and work as a firefighter? Can he do that?
There you go. He's asking you how, in terms of the fire service, how supportive are they of being a fireman and being able to practice your faith?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question.
Yeah.
I like the question. The fire service, they're very, very big on embracing diversity. And myself, if I talk personally, Islam, I'm a Muslim, I'm a revert to Islam. I became a Muslim when I was 23. So Islam is a big part of my life, and that's one of the reasons why I've come on this show as well. Because it's a misconception. We go to a lot of community events, and I get asked this question a lot from Muslims. Oh, you're a firefighter, but how can you get your prayers in or your salahs in? And it's absolutely, they embrace it. The fire brigade give you ample amount of time to make your prayers, and it's a great chance as well for us Muslims to show the beauty of our religion. So it is supportive.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that, Abdul Rahman. We did, of course, receive many calls about fire safety, but as I say, you did encapture them very, very, very well. I think also our camera crew had a question for you, but it's simply too funny and inappropriate for air, so we'll have to save that one for after the show. But nonetheless, a big thank you also for tweeting today. Lina Al-Lema, thank you for favouriting the tweets. Good to see you watching tonight. This, of course, is a story, and I will keep banging on about it because it's so, so true. This is a story that made it to the sofa because of you at home. Abdul Rahman was tuned in, I believe, and his colleagues, and they approached us to come on here, and it's an absolute privilege for us to host them, and, of course, Guide Dogs UK, because we've had people reaching out too. To get your story onto the sofa, of course, you're going to have to text it in or call us. But text, of course, is the best way, so one of our members of the team can be in touch. The number, as always, 07533 366 206. That's 07553 366 206. Stay safe out there. Back over to the guys on the sofa.
Thank you so much. I've got a question actually for Abdul Rahman, and I'm sure that Dave especially will understand this. But Abdul Rahman, and answer this if you feel you comfortably can. But how much of an influence has Fireman Sam been in your career? We know he's Welsh. He's a very famous, a Welsh celebrity. But have you drawn much inspiration from his life and his career?
He's always got a question like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer it.
No, the why I'm laughing. You know why I'm laughing?
Why?
Because off air, we were having that conversation just outside.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know you weren't part of it.
That's a great cartoon.
The first
animation
thing
is
with the fire brigade is the fireman Sam.
Firefighter.
Firefighter Sam.
Sam or Samantha.
That's it. But we all know, we all grew up with fireman Sam. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter now, and she's watching that now. So I remember watching that, and.
But it's actually such a great animation for teaching children about fire safety and not getting up to mission. What's that character that keeps getting into problems?
You're testing me there.
remember.
But it is amazing, like what you said, because we get the school visits come in, and I'm trying to show them like some of the cutting equipment, and they're going, "Oh, that's the jaws of life."
Or Fireman Sam.
And I'm like, wow, it's the How Matro, but they know that's what we use to cut people out of cars and things like that.